Hey guys, Paul here. You may notice that I'm not wearing my gnome hat. I'm a little more dressed up. More on that in a minute. I've had a lot of folks ask me about how I got to work with Wilson Pickett. And I thought I'd let you guys know the story. So I need to start from the beginning. So what happened was I was playing with Phil Weiss and Bobby Brennan, and Bobby had to go back to Florida to work with a swing band. And I needed a bass player. So I put an ad in, I think the Village Voice or Craigslist, I can't remember. And I had a bunch of people call. I explained to them that it was rock and roll, kind of, R&B, kind of soul, whatever. I got this one phone call finally from a guy. He said his name was Z. And he had this very deep voice. And he goes, this is what I play, this is what I've done. And I said, okay. I said, well, why don't you come for an audition? So it was Phil and I in a little studio in 37th Street in New York City. It's the kind of music row where everybody practices. So in walks this guy. He is a 6'4" black guy, okay? And he's big, okay? Behind him is his 6'5" brother, who's also really big. And they walk into the room and it's just me and Phil. And we're like, okay, cool, let's give it a shot. So we start playing, and he's got this Louis Johnson kind of slap thing going on, and it was he was really great right off the bat. I was like, wow, I like this. This is awesome. This is what I want to do. I want to make rock that kind of grooves, and this guy was the perfect person. So his name was Zarek Foster, but everybody called him Z because they got a tough time getting his name right. So Zarek and I started playing together, and we started playing all around, like I said, the tri-state area. And what happened after a while, Z told me that he had an opportunity to play for Wilson Pickett. He was reluctant to ask me, but they needed a guitar player, a lead player, and a singer. And I don't know, he felt like, I had my own thing going on. I had CDs that I had made, and I don't think he really thought I would want to do it. So finally, his reasoning for asking me was that we could stay together. We could do the shows locally, and then we could go on tour with Pickett if we both got the gig. So he was really thinking about our friendship and our band experience, which was really cool to stay together. So when he asked me, he goes, I don't know if you want to do it. And I was like, I absolutely do. Wilson Pickett was one of my biggest heroes as a singer, and how great would it be to be around him and learn from him how he does it in general. So I said, okay. So that's how Zarek had known the band leader, who the band leader's name was Crusher Green, and he got that name because of how he played the drums. He just crushed them. So what happened was we went in, and I sang for Crusher and played for Crusher, and he really liked me. And Zarek, obviously, Crusher, those guys knew each other. So, and they knew each other from playing other gigs. Like Crusher had done some local gigs, and Z was also doing some local gigs, but he also played for Gloria Gaynor back in the day, and he worked for Gary U.S. Bonds. And basically, they knew each other from crossing paths that way. There was a guitar player, I'm not going to name his name because he didn't stay with the band, but he was probably one of the best guitar players I've ever met. He was an incredible R&B rhythm player as well as a soloist. He was incredible, okay? So we're all rehearsing together to meet Wilson and get the band approved, all right? So it's Crusher, Z bass, me, and the other guitar player. There was a B3 player, his name was Sky, and the horn section. No background singers yet. So, okay, so what happens? Pickett comes in, and basically there's not a lot of pictures of Wilson at the time. Like the internet now has exploded, and you can find pictures of really rare photos of him everywhere. But at the time frame, the internet wasn't that big yet, and I only really knew him from album covers. I mean, even in the movie The Commitments, which basically is completely around him, he's never in the movie. They never show him, so you never really see his face. But I had an idea, and now he was older. He's probably like 50 years old here when I met him, or 55, I think. Anyway, he walks in the room and he looks everything like a star. It's incredible. He's decked out. He's got the gold watch, the gold key to this fancy car that he owned. And he walks in and he's like, all right, okay. And the first thing he said, he looked around the room and he goes, okay, where's the other guitar player? Now, the other guitar player didn't show up. he was late. Okay, so now I'm the only guitar player. Okay, so well, let's get into it. He goes, I'm not going to sing with you guys because tomorrow night I got to sing with Bruce Springsteen at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I just want to hear you. I don't want to do anything. So at that point, Crusher turns to me and goes, all right, man, you sing. And I was like, what? He goes, you sing. So, okay. So for my audition for Wilson Pickett, I had to sing Mustang Sally and play it for him. Okay? So I remember thinking to myself, what do I do? You know, like, how am I going to handle this? So I remember starting the song. I remember like Wilson was sitting there and he's like this, look at me, he's wearing his sunglasses. It's like, Mustang Sally, said you better slow your Mustang down. Pickett's just looking at me. That's what I said. And then I kind of forgot myself, you know, because the band sounded so good. It was like, yeah, Mustang Sally. Yeah. And I look back over and Pickett's like, all right. You've been running all over the town. Wow! You better put your flat feet on the ground. I was like, yeah. That's what I said. Well, now I bought you a brand new Mustang, 1965. Yeah, come around here, signifying woman, you sure won't let me ride Mustang Sally now, baby. Woo, you better slow your Mustang down, yeah. All right. So I'm like singing it, I'm like closing my eyes, digging life. Finished the song. Pickett looks at me, he stands up, and I remember him putting his hand on my back and he goes, you know, you're pretty good, but I'm gonna take it from here, right? He takes the mic, that's my Pickett impression. Takes the mic off my stand and goes, I got it. So he starts to sing. He sang with us for an hour and a half. I mean, we just jammed. And guys, let me tell you something. It was like staring into the mouth of a lion. The guy was, on record still is, one of the greatest singers I have ever been around. And I was like, even if I don't get this gig, this experience alone, shit, it was incredible, right? So he just starts singing goes through the whole catalog, you know, it's just killer, right? And I'm like kind of squinting, looking at him like I'm staring into the sun. So we finish up and we sit down and Pickett sits next to me and he goes, all right, man. He goes, listen, he goes, you remind me of somebody from The Who or something, you know, like I remember him talking to me and he loves Eric. And that was it. That's how we got the gig, man. And he left and Crusher goes, the man loves you and he wants to have you in the band. And I was like, man, this is incredible. The really great thing about it was 2 nights later, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction of Bruce Springsteen. I see Springsteen come out on stage and he welcomes Wilson Pickett out. And Pickett looks at him and goes, all right, Bruce, I've been looking forward to kicking you in the ass for a long time. That's Pickett, man. I mean, it's like no filters, right? He goes, I'm looking forward to kicking you in the ass for a long time. And they proceed to sing. And I could see that look on Bruce's face. I was like, I know that look, buddy, because I saw it 2 nights ago. It was on me, right? And Bruce is just kind of singing along and he finishes it. And then I remember Bruce, because Bruce, being a pretty cool dude, just kind of went up to mine and goes, well, I guess he did what he said. And I just remember thinking like, oh man, I get it. Anyway, so it was really, really, that's how I got the gig. That's the circumstances leading up to it. It was Zarek Foster introduced me to Crusher Green, and then I auditioned for Wilson Pickett. And this all happened in the New York City area. So I thank Z-Bass a lot for doing that for me. He also introduced me to Gary Bonds, who I wrote some songs for. It's been an incredible journey. I find now, after being in the band, a lot of my music is much more closely linked to it than even before. I think after working with him and learning how the stuff was put together has really helped me to make, I think, better records of my own. So I hope that when you guys suss the more recent catalog as well, that you see the connection, because there's definitely one there for me. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you real soon.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah.
So you never told us why you're wearing a suit.
Oh, well, when we did the shows with Pickett, we had to wear basically tuxedos. They weren't tuxedos, they were more like suits like this. In fact, on the back of this guitar, I don't know if you guys could see it, the black, this is the guitar I used on the road with Wilson, and I sweat so much on stage that it actually bled onto the guitar, and it's there permanently from the suit, which is kind of cool. But you know, this is also in honor of Crusher Green, who taught me a very valuable lesson. You know, even though I do some stuff here with my gnome hat on, which I love my gnome hat, and my little winter cap, is he always said, he goes, represent. And that was the code. The code was like, show up to the gig looking good, put on your suit, finish the gig, put those fine clothes back on, and you walk out and you always represent. So I learned a lot about that through Crusher. So that's why I'm wearing a suit for you today, to represent. Come on!